Here we are for the RANT on Monday the 3rd of July. Welcome everybody.
Good winter.
Because I always remember the date if it's early in the month.
Right.
Yeah, once it gets past about the 8th or 9th, I'm gone. Big hello to everybody. Great racing there at Rosehill on Saturday. What a great track to bet in is, guys.
It is a great track and a ton of interest at the moment because of the Bowman Abdallah. You know, like Brenton's got the serious wobbles. I think he's carrying a bit of an injury.
Yeah.
And going into Plush, I was thinking, wow, I wonder how the gun's feeling here because it's a must-win.
Yeah, when you're on the 5 to 4 chances and you got you need to get them home, don't you?
Yeah.
Well,
it's an interesting case of pressure and momentum and heebie-jeebies and all that stuff that every sport has.
Every sport has, but then when you're on walk the streets and you're working your guts out to get past Celestial Choice and the $26 chance Huey Bowman on Rustic Melly gets up, it's like not only have you not got yours home,
put him off for the day too, hasn't it? Yeah.
It's very interesting title. So
what is it about H. Bowman? Like, you must watch the show. And what did you say about Rustic Melody on Friday? That looks like she didn't have another win in her.
Yeah.
And Bowman goes...
Oh, so he's got me, now he's got you as well, Glenn.
He's pretty good, isn't he?
Well, the horse did PR throughout, and like, you know.
I just have watched the replay of Duller on Sir Plush, and he looked like a 4-kilo claiming apprentice. He's got the yips that bad.
Has he really?
Like, his balance was all off, he looked like he was panicking.
I do believe,
yeah.
I do believe he's got an injury, and anyway, we'll see what happens. Better get that mark. Would seem to. Did you put that thing in that someone tweeted us or wrote to us to just get going an email here about Dean Yendall? Did you get that going?
Yeah, it should be there somewhere.
We were just talking about.
You asked how Dean Yendall would go in Sydney if he made it his home base.
Yes, an email from who was it?
From Cracker, Uncle Cracker, I think. Craig.
Yeah, Craig was it? Yeah, well, just get, because Dean Yendall rode that winner Calander, there's his name, it just reminded me of that email. I think Dean Yendall would be the #1 jockey in New South Wales if he came to ride in Sydney, because he can ride at 50 kilos.
Wow.
So that's the answer to that. He is like unbelievably strong, unbelievably good, a little bit old, but
and it's such an advantage when your main competition can't go under 55 most of the time.
He rides
as well.
at 50.
Yeah, I know. And so you've got your Hueys and that who are.
The answer to that email, I think he'd really establish himself quick. He's a waste down there in Victoria on Saturdays at provincials. He should be up here.
So the track played pretty benignly. I mean, the last leader was the only leader to win.
After PRing in front and then having laid down the law coming at you, I suppose you can hold him. And
Reneg it was a sort of a just off the pace, not too far back.
Not too far back.
Magic Lullaby was perhaps the horse that came from furthest back on the day.
In the first race, Huelo, the racing position it had compared to the Heliosphere, the race fell over at the 600.
Yeah, the race fell over perhaps even before then, but there was a serious move for Heliosphere. Well, what is that saying?
I don't know. I think punters, you've got to be more careful of these horses coming back in distance. It just doesn't seem to work well with their preparation.
So there was clearly a serious punters behind the move on Heliosphere, which meant that Hilda could get out to 320.
I don't understand how it was 320. I don't know what they were saying.
All right, so next start, they're going to a mile. They're going to be at a mile at Randwick in 2 weeks' time or whatever. And we're going to be confronted with this SP scenario. Is there anything to read into it, or should we ignore it?
No, ignore it.
I think we'll ignore it. I think if they do go to...
Hang on. The 280 chance at a perfect run. What do we do with these horses with perfect runs?
Well, we keep talking about it, Mark, and we talk about it a bit on course. You've got to lay them, but going to a mile next start at Randwick, Huelalai and Heliosphere at a mile, I want to back Huelalai.
I want to back Huelalai, but I want to do the tape again because I know he...
There's some weird stuff in this run. There's something a little bit icky about this horse. The way he ran through the line.
Yeah. So I know he eased up, but
he did.
Yeah, he sat up, but geez, it stopped quick.
Yeah, I would say that in 2 weeks' time we went to a mile, neither of them would win. Heliosphere would be 4th run first prep.
Yep.
And Huelalai is, he's coming off a PR.
Well, you got to find something to beat him as well. Yeah.
Well, there won't be anything in this race.
No. It's it's a common garden race. I mean, it's the best we could expect for this time of year. Race 2, I thought a very well judged ride in front on Just Dreaming. I think she went perfectly.
I agree with that.
you know, and you look at the times and that actually supports it. So to the eye, she seemed to have good charge of the race.
Yep.
Yep.
And the horse was felt a little bit wanting.
Well, it was a little bit dour, perhaps, or it maybe wants more ground, or maybe it's had enough this time, or you know, the winner did get up underneath it, and it's not a natural position for horses. And I think when Just Dreaming sensed that Instansata was underneath her, she said, "Oh, no, I didn't realise you were there, so I'm going to have another."
I reckon if Instansata got to the front earlier, Just Dreaming would have come back and won.
Wow.
That's an interesting insight.
High Miss stamped itself there a bit as a horse, and it's just.
Yeah, but it couldn't win like.
It's a fag.
Yeah, no, but it is.
Oh, look, and it just goes around taking so much percentage of the market all the time.
All the
It's,
time.
you know,
Yeah, but it obviously parades really well.
It does parade really well.
Perfectly. I mean, obviously.
It parades
punters
really
are
well.
not going to be averse to backing horses that parade really well.
Parades really well. I'll ring you back, mate. I'll ring you back. Bye. Look, the main stat going into the race was, you know, looking at it, they all came out of the lead up, the four of them, and they finished in the first four. Royal Ace we didn't know, and Lope de Lope, it looked a bit outclassed, I thought, a touch, even though it's a nice horse, but they all came out of the same race. There was a quarter of a length behind them, and one horse had Kath off and went to Tim Clark.
Yes.
That's about 2 or 3 lengths plus, and that's why it worked out.
you reckon?
It's a huge factor, isn't it? Because what was the other horse, next horse that we saw with Kath off? Was it It's a Fait Complete?
It's Fait Complete, yeah.
Who brought some very tidy looking form to Nowra and got towed up by a horse that you wouldn't back at the provincials, Bell Ridge. Right,
I mean,
what is it, Nick Mitchell? It's like it clearly went well at Nowra, but geez, you couldn't have possibly have an opinion of the horse.
Yeah.
Who was the jockey on Rustic Melody last start? Not.
It was
Bowman.
it was Rachel King. And there's another thing that you fall into. Back to race 3. There's Rustic Melody and Fantasise coming out of the Warwick Farm race. Karen had ridden Fantasise perfectly, one out, one back. I got you in a pocket, bang we go. Rustic Melody's held up for a run, chases quite bravely. It's either neither of them or Rustic Melody. What are we doing thinking about Fantasise off the PR?
Well, one's $7.50 and one's $26. They bet $26 Rustic Melody. Well, Sandro D'Amore did it. Huge asset to race.
I was happy to take over $10 Fantasise.
All right, so you're saying there was odds, but I mean, let's compare it to Rustic Melody then off the Warwick Farm run. What price are you happy to take Rustic Melody then, given the scenario?
If you're 10's Fantasise, you can only be 14's Rustic Melody.
I think, Glenn, that is
I think that's perfect.
That is a compelling assessment.
But let's have a look at these first 4 races. What was it? Tommy Berry to Hugh Bowman.
Yeah.
O'Hara to Clark. King to Bowman, and O'Hara to anyone. There you go. You just got 4 winners at good odds.
Yeah, Gord came up to me after race 4. He said, "Steve Collar is just cleaning up."
I hope he's betting today.
Wow.
Oh.
Let's not talk too much about the It's Fait Complete race. Let's go straight to the staying event. When Gaelic Chifton come off the PR of all PRs, it's the tiniest little rabbit you've ever seen.
Is it a PR? He's back on the inside in a walking race.
2,400 metres.
T. Clark had given Montauk the best ride of all time.
So do you want to back any horse out of this race ever again?
Yeah, I'll be backing Gaelic Chieftain again.
Suited by a slow pace. Destiny's Kiss. How has it run third off that crawl?
I don't think Gaelic Chieftain look happy.
Okay.
Somebody down in Melbourne can maybe email in us tennis and tell us, but
You want to back a Router Junior?
Gaelic Chieftain had its mouth open the whole way, looked to me not comfortable in running. I don't know whether that was backing on the inside or what, but I think it might have a fair amount of improvement. I can definitely consider backing it again.
Yeah, but is it because of its size that it needs to have run space?
Possibly. It's a pony. It's a pony. I just can't get over how...
halfway down the straight you're thinking it might just bob on the line. It's won by 3/4 of a length.
Pull away, but pull away from Montauk, who's probably going slower because of the 2,400.
Like T. Clark, honestly, if he could have carried him, he did.
Yeah.
There's going to be a weight turnaround there too, isn't there, with 1 and 3 next start? A few weight guys out there.
Yeah, look, Destiny's Kiss, he's got something in him. He's got something to offer. That's as good a run as you could possibly run under those circumstances.
Oh well, I'm a bit more.
Yeah, you're not happy.
No.
The Mares, Glen, we saw a good move for Upscale. I must say, I was part of that. Terry came over to me 1 minute before the race. He says, "What are they backing Upscale for? This horse is no good." He didn't. He actually couched his reasoning far more eloquently, but he was suggesting that Upscale didn't have the odds. He forecast that she would go out 1 out 3 back, 1 out 2 back, whatever it was. So that would appear to be the end of Upscale.
It would appear to be too, because you can't believe how well it looked, and I thought it was particularly disappointing.
What about Heady Heights, Glenn?
Came back in good order. I don't know what to make of Heady Heights. Is it a whole?
It went well.
She went okay. Yeah. Mems went outstandingly.
I think
Magic Yellow Boy had last start.
I think Fickle Folly went outstandingly as well. But I noticed the pace wasn't as strong as we thought. There, Mark. Is that not the case?
No, but it was solid plus, solid pace.
Yeah.
So Fickle Folly led, and Don't Babylon sat on outside. Memes box seated, and Nudie Rudy went out 1 back. So there's not much hope in life for Nudie Rudy now.
No.
Fickle Folly seemed to go solidly at 1200. She's at the top of the game, isn't she?
Yeah. Mariquita's come back in nice order with improvement. So
Magic Alibi has actually done a good job to win there.
Yeah.
Right, so Gerald Ryan second up, so maybe that's a slight knock. She's already had 2 runs, but she's attacked the line there.
Another winter race, mate.
Yeah, and then
Gold Symphony.
you were particularly bullish about Gold Symphony on Friday, and you were totally right.
Well, I did the form, and I just said A has to be Gold Symphony because he ran the Stradbroke last start. It wasn't that.
I think you were tying that to the connections to the rider. Like, it's just solid connections. You get bang for your buck with those connections, don't you?
$7 on
K. McAvoy Snowden, H. Bowman Snowden. It's like
bang for your buck. I thought the Monstar raced right out of its skin.
What's going well?
Going really well.
It's like Piscian the other day.
I know that.
Not off a perfect run.
Wasn't it 11 to 13.50 or 1,000 to 13.50?
It was 11 to 13.50. Yeah, he'd had. What did he resume? Didn't he have a 1,200 metre run in Brisbane? Then back to 11. Back to 2 11s actually, and then up to 13.50.
And Slightly Sweet ran its usual, like honest race. It's always got $21 next to its name and always seems to run a great race. It went particularly well.
Also, one thing about Golden Symphony, I was massively keen on it. The only thing that question mark I had was how do they put up a Snowden Bowman horse up at $7? Because they just don't do that, do they?
But why do you think that? What makes you think, how do they do it?
Am I missing something here? Because there's no way this horse would be $7 in what I consider an ordinary market.
Who puts the price up?
Well, I don't know.
Ex-bookies clerks at sporting joints?
Yeah. I backed it.
Okay, so they're ex-sporting clerks.
Right, but I didn't hear you guys saying $7 was massive overs on Friday. Like, when you were bullish about it.
I said it was A.
Yeah, you said it was A.
So I'm saying it was.
You're saying it's 5 to 1 chance, $6.
At most. I'm probably thinking more 7 to 2. But I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
I backed it everywhere, but I don't know. I thought I might have
probably am
mentioned
saying $6, and they're about $7. Yeah.
Shiraz appears to be cooked.
Yeah. So Bacchus, what are we gonna do with it?
Well, 28 days between runs. It's probably better at 1200. It did come out of an icky race. Remember that on Friday I said, okay, here's the lead up. Slightly Sweet has done the impossible in the lead up. So does that make the lead up no good?
Possibly. But the Sabacus I remember used to run through the line every start and put a 1 next to its name. It was a picket fence type horse at one stage, wasn't it?
This time last year, so wins in May, went to Brisbane, failed, freshened up, win back, then failed, found another win in Melbourne. That's his latest win.
Okay.
Moonee Valley.
Extensible looked to get a nice run. It was heavily back. $15 into $7.50. I was all over.
3 deep throughout.
Did it have a little bit of cover?
No.
Okay.
No cover off a fast pace. Total forgive.
Righto. And Girl Sunday. Well, she's tied up and run last.
She was carved up outside the lead with Monstar. She's exposed. Centre Pivot, there was a lot of interest in his return, not so much in the market. It was suggested that he looked well above himself. Well above himself.
He's a beautiful horse. I'd say he needs another run, but I said there's a win in this prep. He's come back really well.
So what are we targeting there with Centre Pivot?
Don't know.
1800?
I don't know. Funny horse to place.
Is there anything else you want to follow there?
I think that's a good find because I think it'll run around decent odds next start or next 2 starts or whatever as well. Centre Pivot. Yeah.
It's a bit of a boom horse, Centre Pivot.
Well, but with those connections and that particular run, I think.
But what are the connections? What are the connections? P Roble?
Yeah, that's it.
But Peter's he's got to have been training only so-so. He hasn't had a lot of winners.
But that's my point. That's why we're still going to get a price.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Off that run and with those connections, we'll get a long price and I'll have a chance.
He reminds me of Tim Martin early in his career. Oh, Roble trains, just be wary. Why is that?
Well, there was a theory that when he was with Sargent, that the only horses that ran well were the horses that he was looking after.
There was that theory. I forgot about it.
I would say back neither stable.
Okay, let's get to Calander, guys, who just ran through the line. Yendall.
Well, there was a very, very strong early betting move. Well, when I say early betting move, like at the 20-minute mark for Calander.
Huge.
Who's behind that?
Don't know, but I saw 650 on plenty of boards, and all the six. There was 7 boards $6 when they were taking $5 on the fair.
Yeah. So there was an inspired move, and at the 150, you're going, well, yeah, he looks like he might be in the finish. And then somehow he's put a length and a quarter of them in the last 20 metres.
I think good 3-year-olds from good stables at this time of the year find the line. Beautiful horse to look at, lovely horse. I think Sublush went okay and just got beaten.
Right, so it's time to look at Stu, at Warri Symbol, said Surplus last prep beaten at 330, 280, 350, 280 and $3 after the first up win. Yesterday beaten at 240 after the first up win.
What a great tweet that is, Stu.
Costly.
Wow, that's great.
I think that's fantastic.
Fantastic
but I do think it would have won the race if it had been ridden better.
He did struggle to get highly.
You're a bit anti-Brenton at the moment, young Gord. He's a good rider.
I think he's a fantastic rider, but I'll just go off what I'm seeing as far as current form is concerned.
Fair enough.
You know?
Yeah.
It was hard to watch that.
So he's a bit Jordan Spiethy, but we can expect him to win the championships pretty soon.
Yeah. It's his first time having a crack for it, isn't it? You can get the yips, and
look, I think he's run that. He won't suffer from it. He'll learn from it.
Well, if he's in this situation next year, he's gone through it. He's experienced. What do they say? You got to play in a grand final before you can win a grand final.
I know. He's still $1.60 to win.
I know. He still should.
We've
get
got
there.
him like dead and buried here, and with the RIP.
No, but I'm only talking from a betting perspective.
We're just dirty we didn't take $5 Huey Bowman. Let's get to the truth of it.
Yeah, probably.
All right. Calander has been up for a while. He resumed on Easter Monday.
Okay.
Where to for him? His 3 city wins are 1100.
Where to? I think a nice race again, up to 1200 metres,
Right,
no
so
problem.
He's still got a bit more in him.
Oh, my word, yeah.
He's been up since.
Look, honestly, horses can stay up, I'm telling you.
Bindy's
the only one with any idea.
The reason I'm asking is because you're looking at them.
In fantastic order, with condition, which is a good sign.
And is Surplus the first up horse, aside from the ride? Let's just,
Could be.
I'll be very wary of Surplus next door because of Stu's tweet.
Yeah,
so am I.
It's an interesting analysis.
See how we learn off you too.
King Darcy had it.
Keeps ringing me there. In good nick. Who's that name?
Nick Card.
Oh, hi Nick. How you going, mate? I'm just doing the show. I'll ring you back, buddy. I'll ring you back. Bye. Nick Card.
You're like me. You put the first name and then what you associate that first name with. I do it in mine as well. So I don't use their last name. No. It'll be like Nick
John
Soccer
Plummer.
or
That's a good way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, I just can't read now as well. I've got the old Nokia.
Yeah. I thought it was a joke. I thought there was somebody interesting calling you, and that's why you were asking me.
I couldn't read it. Oh, Nick from Cards, there he was.
King Darcy, how did it come back?
Look, he's got condition on him, but he's in great nick, and thought it was exactly where he'd finish.
Very solid horse, isn't he?
Very solid.
He's going to be a meal ticket on Saturday. Top Striker had a tough run.
Had a tough run, but I thought it was a little bit disappointing, didn't you?
Oxford Poet had a tough run.
Had a massive amount of condition. It's a lovely, talented horse. It's a really talented horse. Needs a couple of runs more.
Okay. And Prince Famous, Huey was half carting there, and
he paraded well.
He's a bit of a control freak, isn't he?
I think he's had a wind problem, this horse.
Yeah, he has had a wind problem. So he dropped out to run last. And then the last, Kingsley straight onto Kingsguard, like first horse back to Kingsguard, wasn't it?
I don't recall that. No. Are you sure?
Yeah, well, that's what I sensed, and I thought, yeah, of course, this horse you know where it's going to be.
You knew he was going to lead by
Right.
2 lengths, especially if you got the preview
You
show.
suspect the Karzov's going to be back. I'm forecasting that Magical Stance has to be ridden forward, and at this stage, I'll just mention that Rob Scurry wrote. What did he write? I don't know how I put it in here. Oh yeah, hi. For 1 second I was really rapt with A. Adkins on Magical Stance. The horse jumps out clearly in front of the field. Adkins then drags it back to last on a day where being on the pace is a massive advantage. Actually, he dragged it back, and then at the 800 metre mark he decided he had to go 5 wide and forward.
It was a terrific run. I looked it up, Rob. I watched it. The only thing I disagree with his tweet, it didn't jump clearly in front.
Well,
it climbed
was the
this
best,
far
it
in
was
front.
the best to begin.
Yeah, and he should have pushed on and said OSL, but he didn't jump 2 lengths in front like it sounds
Well,
like.
he was never going to push forward. I think you know
They do get confused with instructions.
I'm willing him to push forward because I can see that this is a race to push forward in.
If he does sit outside lead, I think he wins.
Well, Reneg set outside lead and got beaten that far.
Yeah, and I think Magical Stance proved his run was better.
What is it? Jockeys don't give up your advantage. If you jump well,
Because they're under instructions. Ronnie Quinton, can you imagine Ronnie Quinton giving instructions on a horse? Can you imagine? Now look, we're going to do this.
but don't. Their job is to make decisions, isn't it? If you ping the lids.
Yeah, but they're also trying to satisfy the trainer and the owners.
There's balls to juggle.
Yeah, so that gives an even greater advantage to the senior jockeys who are given the independence to make their own decisions.
That's why Dean Yendall should be in Sydney.
That's the self-fulfilling aspect of the leading riders. So you need more ducks in a line when you've got a second tier rider.
I agree.
What are we going to do with this Karzov, Glenn?
Well, it's tiny, it's small. I'm sure it's got to win in it. It needs to find a race where it can get into the right position, mate.
Okay, but is it going to be poison odds when it does find that race?
I think it's poison odds forever, this horse.
Is there anything else to talk about? It seems a forgive race for Obsidian, who can do a lot better.
Can do a lot better, but yeah.
Look, it was a regulation day at Rosehill on Saturday. I hope that this analysis has satisfied you in some way. And we'll be back with part 2.
Let's get out of there, Henry.
Of the rant.